they just nerfed too many things about him. They're like, oh, he's too good. Let's nerf the bonus HP. Let's nerf the cooldown of his dive. Let's nerf the amount of damage on his primary fire. Let's nerf the cooldown on his flame fields. This is like a quadruple nerf. Who else got quadruple nerfs in this patch? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. Today we're going to be talking about the Human Torch. I think that NetEase over nerfed him. I think they completely gutted everything that we came to rely on from his kit. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people are going to be like, good, hated Human Torch. He was a menace last season. And you might be right about that. But here's my core issue with this. I do agree that they buffed him too much. Because what they did, if you're not familiar with his sort of like timeline, is when they launched Human Torch, he was not popular. In fact, most people were saying this guy's super weak. He can't hang in the current meta. And everyone was complaining about how hard it was to hit his primary attack, everything like that. Well, he got buffed twice. And I actually thought on launch, I thought he was a very well-balanced hero. So we're going to go over what they did to change him, to buff him too much, and then how they over-nerfed him to the point where now he is actually worse, considerably worse than he was when they first launched his character. That's my core issues, because if it was up to me, they never would have buffed him to begin with. I would have just preferred they kept him exactly the way he was when he launched. But now he is... I say this without trying to be hyperbolic. I think he's basically unusable at this point. He's terrible. And that should never be the case. Even if someone was too powerful in a previous season, I don't think that it's good philosophy to ever nerf somebody into the ground to the point of unusability just because they were on top the previous season. I prefer to have something that's actually well balanced. So let me show you why this sucks in the practice range. And I'll also have some background footage as well to show you practical applications and situations that I'm describing. All right, so here we go. Here's Human Torch. First problem is the way that they nerfed his... actually, you know what? Let's start over here. I changed my mind. One of the biggest things that they did is they increased the cooldown on his flame fields. Right, these things, you right-click on PC, it throws a little fire pool on the ground, does damage over time if people step into it. It despawns after a while. See? Now it's gone. Well, what they did is they increased the cooldown. You have 3 charges, but they increased the cooldown that it takes to charge one of those charges back up. Now, previously, our bread and butter thing to do on the Human Torch was to draw 4 corners with our flame fields and then ignite them to create an enclosure. So we would go, one corner, one corner, one corner, one corner, and then we would ignite it, and this whole rectangle here would be a cage of sorts where if anybody's inside of it, they're going to take a considerable amount of damage over time. That was his primary way of both doing damage and also generating ultimate energy. So, what did they do? Well, they nerfed the cooldown. We could draw our 4 corners, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, ignite, and get out of there. And you're really exposed when you're doing that, right? You have to be able to see all that real estate that you're about to cover, which means everybody on the enemy team can see you too. So it was never a free thing to do. But here's the problem. But look at what they did to this. So now you draw your 3 corners, and you go to draw the 4th, and it's not ready. It's not ready. You have to wait a second before you can ignite it. And the problem with that is that your grace period there is really short. It's really short because, you're still exposed while you're waiting on that 4th cooldown. It used to be ready for you by the time you were ready to draw that 4th corner. It used to be ready for you. But the problem here is that now you're waiting, and then you have to wait for that cooldown before you can ignite it. But you don't have a lot of time to draw that 4th corner, because let me show you what happens is when you're ready to draw the 4th corner, what happens to the first one? It's going to despawn much more quick. See, it's already gone. That one's gone. That one's gone. And then you're trying to play catch-up. So let's say, for example, you draw 3 corners, and you're getting shot. You're like, oh, I need to take cover. And then you're like, oh, crap, I got to get back here and draw my 4th corner and ignite it. Boom. And then by the time you hit the ignite button, the first one's gone, and now you have 50% of the real estate that you would have otherwise had, right? Because you went from a rectangle to cutting it in half and only having a triangle. So all this to say, cutting the real estate in half that you can cover consistently with your flame fields. Like in a vacuum, yeah, you can get your 4 corners drawn, but here's the thing, nobody's trying to kill me. And then sometimes they just don't take, right? You saw that one just didn't take. And so there's a little bit of inconsistency there. Let's say, you hit a Doctor Strange's shield. It doesn't leave a flame field on the ground. If you hit somebody directly, it'll leave it on the ground at them. But there's a lot of different things that could disrupt it. And then you have to like wait on your cooldowns, but by the time you get your cooldown back, your first flame field is already despawned, and now all that time and cooldowns are for nothing. You have to sort of disengage and wait till you get 3 charges back before you can come back and try and draw your flame fields again, right? Yeah, please, right? So anyways, that's the first thing that sucks, is they cut the amount of real estate that you can consistently cover with your flame fields in half. The other thing that sucks is that they changed his primary fire damage. So what used to happen, well, they changed 2 things. One, they changed the damage, and they changed the number of projectiles in your cluster. So there used to be 2 fewer, right? You shoot this cluster. Now it used to be the same amount of damage, but take 2 of these projectiles out, and the damage was spread across a fewer number of projectiles. That made it more like a slug shotgun. So if you hit, if your aim was good and you hit, you were gonna get big damage. But now it's spread across more pellets, more projectiles, so fewer of them are gonna hit, right? And look at this. It used to be he was really good at countering flyers. If you could hit 3 direct shots, they just nerfed his primary damage output. It used to be if you hit 3 shots, this Iron Man would be dead. So the problem there is that Iron Man has his unibeam, right? And it will melt you. So you would have to like be tricky, close the gap, get close enough that you could land your primary fire, because you have considerable drop off. And you know, look at that damage at this range. It's terrible. It's abysmal. It's absolutely atrocious. You'd be doing this forever, and you gotta wait on your cooldowns and everything. So anyways, you would have to close the gap on these Iron Mans, these Storms, and now Ultrons, and then like you're still trying to dodge his unibeam, so you're like, oh, take my shot, do some dodging, take my shot, do some dodging, take my shot, do some dodging, and it used to be he'd be dead, but look at his HP, look at this. Look at this. He still gets to live. And by the way, I thought maybe if I close the gap, I can start throwing in melee animations to make up that difference. But his melee range is so bad, guys. Look at that around like, oh, please. I'll even get a little bit closer here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It's not connecting. Are you kidding me? His melee is completely useless. So, anyways, he can no longer do the 2 things that he was really, really good at, which were 4 corner flame fields. You know, if you have to delay at all, maybe taking damage, you get your last one, then you ignite it. You know, you might get lucky. But usually you can't do your 4 corners anymore. In a vacuum you can when no one's actually doing damage to you, but otherwise it's much more challenging. So, my new strat, by the way, I will let you know this. My new strat is no longer 4 corners, it's 2 in the back, 1 in the front. 2 in the back, 1 in the front, and then ignite it. Okay? So I try to, obviously I can't cover as much ground that way, but I'm going to put the wider part where their team is.
Together to victory. Let's cook some more.
Okay? So the wider part's going to go where their team is. So 2 in the back, 1 in the front. And I got to wait on my cooldown there. That's the new strat. 2 in the back, 1 in the front. So if you're trying to like still use Torch and get some decent damage out of them, that's the new approach. But even up close, you know, you're like, please, you know, you're getting shot by the unibeam. Look at his HP. Even like up within the range where his primary does the most damage it possibly can do. Look at his HP. That's what sucks. Now this does happen. I'll cut to a clip now, or you don't have to look at my ugly mug anymore, but I'll cut to a clip. This is what I used to do. You know, I'd take off angles, use my plasma body to fly quickly and get close to a flyer. And look at me, I get all the way up on this Ultron and I go 1, 2, 3 primary fire shots right into him, and then look at his HP. He gets to live. That's not enough to do it anymore. And I will tell you, and anybody who plays Human Torch will tell you this too, landing his primary fire attack, especially on mobile flyers with small hitboxes, is not an easy thing to do. And the fact that it no longer can 3-shot kill is a crying freaking shame.
No applause?
The only way that you could do that is if they manage to not notice that you are here, right? If you get here and you get a headshot on them, look, now you can, you know, you can maybe 2-shot, but who's going to let you get here? That's not really going to happen, right? That's not happening. So anyways, and another thing that kind of stinks is that, you know, it used to be Well, this has always been the case, but it used to be that you could, you know, duel these Iron Mans and these storms, like around pillars and whatnot. But one thing that does also suck is that these little fireballs are constantly flying around us, right? And they give away our position. So when we're corner peeking cover like this, they can still see our little fireballs giving away our position. That's always been the case, but it's just like now that's exacerbated by the fact that we can't 3-shot, right? At this range, you're looking at 5, 6 shots, maybe even 7 if they're squirrely and they're moving around. That's what really, really sucks. Now, so what's the solution? I think that ideally, I want them to take, look at this, when we hit our dive, you know, we get that bonus HP. They cut that down. It used to be 25 HP more when they buffed him. But when they launched him, he didn't have that at all. There was no bonus HP on your dive. But people were complaining, oh, but when I dive now, I'm suddenly super exposed and everybody gets to kill me because I'm in the middle of the team. It's like, that's a skill issue. I'm just gonna say it. That's a skill issue. You're not supposed to dive in the middle of the enemy team. Like, what are you doing diving in the middle of the enemy team? What you do with the dive was that you would always find a sniper or a healer isolated, dive on them, and then get out with your plasma body. You didn't need the bonus HP. If you were using it correctly, you were securing a kill and you were getting the heck out of there. I've got 2 different Human Torch videos up already. One's a full advanced guide, and I'm using him in celestial lobbies and getting MVP on launch when everyone said he was trash. So what I want them to do is strip that bonus HP away. I don't think we need it. If we're using that dive properly, we do not need it. And then undo the nerf to his flame field cooldown so we can consistently shoot more flame fields, because you're hyper exposed when you're putting these things down, right? And then you gotta wait on the cooldown for the 4th. So one thing, take the bonus HP away. I don't want it. I want you to nerf that. Take it away. But the trade-off here is that they changed the cooldown on his dive. Originally it was 12 seconds. Is it right? 12 seconds? It's 20 seconds now. It is a 20-second cooldown to use our dive. Like, it's our primary way of actually getting final hits, right? You cause damage and panic with the flame fields. No one's going to stay in there and die, right? They step out. But you cause a little bit of damage, a little bit of panic. You make the healers focus on getting HP bars back up. That's what the flame field is for. But actually getting final hits is normally like this, right? You're diving on somebody, and you know, it doesn't even have to be a full kill when you get the dive. But we're just gonna, here, let me just do that. But like, you just get 2 and then you dive on them, right? And then you clean them up and then fly away. That's what we want to be able to do. But we can't really do that. Our final hits, you know, we went from being able, if you were a really good Human Torch, you could get 10, 15, 20 final hits in a match if you were really good at using your dives and landing your follow-up damage and then getting to cover. Now we have to wait 20 seconds on a dive. Like, are you kidding me? That is unreal. So, they just nerfed too many things about him. They're like, oh, he's too good. Let's nerf the bonus HP. Let's nerf the cooldown of his dive. Let's nerf the amount of damage on his primary fire. Let's nerf the cooldown on his flame fields. This is like a quadruple nerf. Who else got quadruple nerfs in this patch? It's brutal. It was just way too much. So now he's worse than he was when he first launched, because when he first launched, we at least had our dives on 12-second cooldowns, and we didn't have to wait for that flame field cooldown. We could do our 4 corners like this, and then ignite and fly away. We used to be able to do that. Can't do that anymore. Right now, we go 1, 2, 3. Wait. Now do it, and now ignite. You know what I mean? And you can just take too much damage while you're waiting on that 3rd one, and then you have to do the ignite animation too. And sometimes it won't take. Sometimes it'll just draw the 2. Sometimes it'll just do 1 line across the middle or something. It's weird. So, anyways, all this to say, hey, NetEase, what the heck are you doing? Why the quadruple nerf? Yeah, he was on top of the meta, but that's because you guys buffed him too much. Just bring him back down to where he was on launch when everyone said he was weak. But now he's worse than he was when everyone said he was weak. That makes him abysmal, atrocious, terrible. So anyways, all this to say, they gotta make a change. This current form of the Human Torch can't stick. It can't stick, or else he's never going to see any playtime. Look at that. Look at that. Right there. See? See? Look at his HP. We can't properly duel anymore. Our 1v1 duels just got completely neutered. Our TTK got increased by 25%, right?
Hot diggity dog.
Come on. Come on. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know, a little break from my normal, you know, full advanced guide videos. But I do like to also share my thoughts and opinions on the state of the game, balance changes, stuff like that. So let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you're like, good, he sucks and I want him to suck forever. I'm a little sad about that, but that's definitely an opinion you can have. So anyways, all right, thanks for tuning in and watching the video. If you made it to the end, let me know in the comment section. Be like, hey, made it to the end, here's what I think. And I'll be sure to give you a nice heart on your comment. And that's good for absolutely nothing. You can't redeem that heart for monetary value or anything like that. But it's just something that I'll do. Sound good? All right. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.